Hello, welcome to Under the First Floor Lo-Fi Podcast, shitty recordings of bands you should like. My name's David Settle. On today's episode, we have Washer, a duo split between New York and Philadelphia. They've put out a couple of incredible full-lengths and a handful of really good splits as well. They played some songs from a variety of those releases down in the basement. It was really cool to have them down here. I've been seeing them off and on for the last few years. One of my old bands got to play with them in New York with Stove, and a really great show. Nine of Swords, too. It was a really awesome show at a very, very, very hot venue that is no longer around, I don't think. We talked a little bit about that and about the old DIY New York venues that were so great not that long ago. If you haven't heard from the last week or so on my social media or from last week's episode, I have released a compilation of the first 20 bands that have played on this podcast. Please check that out, underthefirstfloor.bandcamp.com, if you like what you hear. I just submitted the order form for the tapes. They should be ready in about 3 to 4 weeks. And I have CDs as well. If you're interested in that, go to the Bandcamp, check it out, order it. All the money goes to races. And again, even if you don't like the record, just go to their website and give them as much money as you can. But for today's episode, we'll have a few quick, catchy songs from Washer. The first one being Elbow from their record All Aboard that came out a couple years ago. Hope you enjoy.
My name is Kieran. I play drums in the band Washer, and I am from Long Island. Now I live in Queens.
My name is Quigley, and I play guitar and sing in Washer. I'm from Long Island, and I now live in Philly.
This question never works, but I'm still going to try it. What do y'all want to talk about?
We're going on a tour in July. When is this going to come out?
Oh, good question. Possibly after that tour.
Sick.
Yeah.
Well,
how was that tour?
It was awesome. It was so much fun.
as you mentioned, you're both living in different cities now.
Yes.
Were you already doing that when the last record came out? Or is that
No.
post that record? Cool. So how's that been for as a band?
I think we're actually playing more. Well, we're playing places outside of New York City more, which is cool. Because when we do play, it takes more effort, and so we are then more intentional on like booking a weekend or a week or something like that.
If one of us has to travel anyway, it's like, well, we might as well go back and forth between cities.
Yeah.
How about like practicing and like writing and everything?
It's not so bad. I work remotely, and for a while I still had to go back to my office, so I would plan to go up and then have practice and sleep at his house. So that was really good. I'm going up less now, so we'll see how that goes. When I started writing songs that would become Washer songs, like I wanted to rip off our two friend bands that we were playing with, like Flagland and Big Ups. They were catchy punk bands at the time.
We were also listening to a lot of Double Dagger and Room Runner.
Yeah. I think that's the music, like that style stuff is what I was listening to a lot of when we like first started, and so I still like write in that vibe. Maybe that's why some of the twangier stuff now is different, because I've been listening to a lot of other stuff.
Like what?
Like the Sweetheart of the Rodeo.
You put that on like every
fucking
time.
day.
Is that?
The Birds.
Oh.
It's fucking so good.
Yeah.
But I enjoy playing more of like hooky pop rock stuff. We were really into Guided by Voices when we were doing stuff.
Still are.
Still are.
Pop hook master.
Yeah, just that kind of vibe, I guess. I don't know. I like the pop catchy stuff, but I feel like when I'm writing, I'm like actively attempting to not do that, because when I let myself do that, then it's just like super basic 3-chord punk stuff with like same structure and whatever. Like it all blends together. So I have to like fight that
Yeah.
tendency and
Yeah.
then and try to like be weird for weird's sake. I'll also say that I think as like a second generation EIS band, we just ripped off other EIS bands and like that sound. Not to say rip off, but like we like heard about all those bands and we were like, holy shit, this is fucking incredible, and we go to those shows all the time and we're like definitely influenced by those folks.
Clean up to my room. I had a drop clock, big doo-doo. I had a candle, clear my head, feel my skin, then it'll shed. Took a scout to the yard, drinking dirty, leaving charred. Watch the smooth drain down the sink, pull out yourself some chocolate. Now that I know all is true, and I know that it's true, all is true, and I will see which of you will stand to me, which of you know all is
So the first few 7-inches you did were on a different label, but one that y'all ran? Maybe?
Well,
Or helped?
So we had a fake label
Okay.
with the folks in Big Ups and Flagland and a few other friends.
Mm-hmm.
We at the time wanted to like make records and put stuff out, or wanted to get stuff out, and when we didn't know how, and then we just kind of figured we'd like fake it, you know, so that it would lend more credibility than just self-releasing it.
Yeah.
So we had like a friend make a logo and just did like anything that came out from anyone related to that crew got to put that tag on it. So we did our first EP tape that way.
Yeah.
And then the 7-inches were done like, because we like split the costs. So we put our logo on it and then Exploding in Sound did the other stuff, or did half as well.
Yeah.
I think the first, so we did like a
What was the label called?
East Coast Basements and Bedrooms. Yeah, ECB&B. So we did like a trio thing where like Big Ups and Flagland did a split, and us and Flagland did a split, and us and Big Ups did a split. Yeah. And so we had like started on that idea, and then had met Dan, and like all the bands kind of got involved with Dan, and so then he helped us like do the last two, and then sell it as like a bundle, and
Ever any aspirations to do label stuff like that again, or was that just out of necessity?
I think that was more necessity. If I could see if like I end up ever doing some like side projects that I don't really like, want to tour on, I don't want to like waste anyone's money. Maybe I just do it that way.
I feel that right
You know
now,
what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I like to make and put out records, but I don't always want to like tour on everything. I'd like to still have the outlet to put stuff out and
Yeah.
maybe make up a name for it and help people do their side projects or something. That'd be cool.
Side project label.
Yeah.
shit that I run and feed my dog, but there's no best friend in my home, so I'm just on the couch. Myself between my legs, and whenever the bell rings, I slip the chain out of the lock, bare my teeth with growl. And now
haven't really had to play any like totally dead shows recently, which is cool.
Nice.
We have done that in the past.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's like it's really weird to go to like a town you've never played and like people are there. It's really it's cool.
It's been
but
cool.
It's like I never expect anyone to be there. 'Cause
Yeah.
Why would they?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel pretty
It's
good
nice when
about
it
it.
happens.
I like our. I'm pretty comfortable in our tiniest corner of existence.
Yeah.
It is. It's for the most part
I like it.
fulfilling enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. For booking this tour has been really nice because I've like hit up friends of friends, like because we're mostly playing places we've never been, and people have been like really friendly, and some of them even already heard about us and like totally helped us out and hooked us up.
Yeah.
So that's been cool.
Is that kind of like the level you feel like you're good at, like DIY touring? Like,
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I think so.
I like it.
I like it.
so-
I don't want to. I don't know. We've talked about that with friends and ourselves and whatever. Like, really bummed when bands burn out. Like, sometimes bands just end and then like that makes total sense.
Yeah.
But it's just a bummer when you see people like fucking go really hard, try to do it, and then like just kind of never mind.
Yeah.
You know, they get burnt out. So trying to like avoid that and have a happy medium because we both have like lives outside of this, but this is definitely like an important thing.
Very special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're trying to have that balance. We get old and we get selfish. Everybody sounds fake. I'm the worst one. Everybody sounds fake. I'm the worst
Yeah, so you came up with like that whole scene, and what was the venue that was it Shea Stadium that was connected to all that?
I mean, we played there a lot. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We weren't particularly like involved with the like management or nothing.
Yeah.
But they put out the Exploding in Sound live at Shea record.
Yep.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Yep. And yeah, we played there the most of any spot we've played. It was like 20 something shows, but before they closed, it was really cool. They're so good to us.
I guess you came up in that whole era of like amazing New York DIY venues.
Yes, we were very fortunate at the time. We did when it was like Shea, Silent Barn, and
Death by Audio,
Palisades. It was just a very fruitful time.
Yeah.
It was great.
You could like show hop, like
Yeah.
I remember going to Palisades, and then I remember playing at Silent Barn, and then running over to Palisades to like catch like fern mayo or something, and then come back. Like it was so dope.
Is there anything in New York like that? No.
There's like no.
Yeah.
There's still tons of spots and definitely DIY spots, whatever, but it doesn't have this. I mean, that doesn't have the same like buzz or whatever. Maybe buzz isn't the right word, but there's like the Glove is a cool DIY spot, but it's closing.
I like Transpico's.
Transpico's is cool.
Like
they're like legit though, you know.
Yeah.
They have like a liquor license and
Yeah.
whatnot. Yeah, it's different.
Played a couple houses in the past.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
In the city?
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. So I
Is
think
that like a newer development, or is that how it always been a thing?
I think it's just like since all those places.
I think it's like a
closed
necessity
down.
thing, yeah. And I think my guess is that that stuff existed like prior to the heyday of,
Yeah.
you know, early teens,
2010s, yeah.
2010s, yeah, that kind of shit.
Walk up to the moon and wave goodbye. I wouldn't even try when to breathe out into light. I wear a shredded sign. I won't back down. Take a look around. I hold my ear to the ground. Take a breath and feel the truth settle. When to breathe out, when to light. Maybe all my friends tonight. I won't back down. Take a look around. I hold my ear to the ground. Take a breath and feel the truth settle. When to breathe out, when to light. Maybe all my friends are right. Turn my face up to the sky. Your guess is as bad as mine. But I won't back down. Take a look around. I hold my ear to the ground. Take a breath and feel the earth settle. So I get down. What I lost, I found. Realize inside the ground. It'll never be one. Yeah, I get down. What I lost, I found. Realize inside the ground. It'll never be one.
Are y'all working on new stuff?
Yeah. We just tracked some drums and guitars for a new record, so it's like 25% done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
What's the new stuff shaping up like? Anything different or trying new stuff?
It's a bit twangier, but there's still some like big rippers. I don't know, like, so we wrote about half of a record and then recorded like the basics for most of that, and then we have like a bunch of other things in various stages of doneness. So, and those are maybe not as twangy, so those might end up balancing that out. Yeah.
What future plans do y'all have?
The hope is to do another full length like in 2020, and to do another like at least 2-week tour. I'd like to do longer than that next year.
Yeah.
We've only ever done like around 2 weeks, so it might be cool to try a longer one.
Like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, maybe 3. And or like maybe like waste a bunch of money and fly to the West Coast and then like borrow a bunch of shit and do like a West Coast tour. That'd be really cool because we've never been out there.
What will you be listening to in the van or car? Van? Minivan?
Car.
The Subaru.
Car. My used Subaru that I just got.
Oh, hell yeah.
The new Bethlehem Steel record
The new
that's coming out in September.
The new
Spoiler.
Bethlehem Steel record for sure.
Spoiler. The new Monica record that's coming out in August. Yeah, Friends. I don't know, Friends. We like to listen to Friends.
That's awesome.
And then like Kieran's My Great Party Spotify playlist, which is
That's-
a public playlist that anyone can listen to.
Yeah,
It's
you just
called
gotta look up My Great Party and you'll have a great party.
Yeah.
I like to drive to a lot of Grateful Dead. 'Cause
Yeah.
It just kind of goes on and on.
Yeah.
That's good
You don't,
driving
you don't have to
music.
think of it. Yeah, it's good driving music.
Yeah, sometimes you put on an album and you're like, I've only 3 songs in. I've been driving for fucking
Yeah.
forever. So it's nice to have a big long jam. You can like forget about time.
Yeah. Thanks so much to Washer for coming down to the basement and recording a session. If you'd like to hear more from them, you can check out their Bandcamp, okwasher.bandcamp.com, and they're on Twitter and Instagram at WasherFacts. If you'd like to get in contact with me about the podcast, you can email at underthefirstfloor@gmail.com. Also on Twitter at UTFF Podcast and on Instagram at underthefirstfloor. And again, don't forget to check out underthefirstfloor.bandcamp.com to hear the first compilation. Also, if you like what you hear, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple. To be honest, I don't know what exactly that does. I'm sure something positive, but if nothing else, it's nice to get a little dopamine boost and hear that people actually like this thing. I'll keep doing it either way, but it's still nice to hear. So thank you to anyone who's done that already. For the last couple of songs for today's episode, I picked a couple of bands who are actually duos, and I didn't even mean to do that, but I guess it's a theme for the episode. The first one being from Blu-ray, a Boston duo who put out a record called Open Sesame last year on Super Wimpy Punch. This is the first song from that, called Tennis. If you like what you hear, the rest of the record and a bunch of other releases are on blu-rayhd.bandcamp.com. I got to play with them a couple weeks ago in Boston at a house show, and they were incredible live. Such a fun set, so much feedback, so much noise for a 2-piece. Really good stuff, and the recording definitely captures the noisiness of it. And for the last song, I'm going to leave you with a track from the band Lowercase, a song called Earth -1. This is off their debut that came out in 1996 on Amphetamine Reptile, called All Destructive Urges Seem So Perfect. They weren't always a duo, but they did record this record as a duo. And this was when they lived in Palm Desert, California, though they later moved to San Francisco. This is a band, I really don't know how I found out about them. Just one of those internet wormholes. And it's one of those bands that I've never heard anyone else talk about, but they had a really cool sound of just slowcore noise rock almost, kind of in the Slint vein. If you like what you hear, you should definitely try to find their releases somewhere. I find them randomly in record stores sometime, or, Soulseek or something. They might be on YouTube too. I'm not even sure. But yeah, check that out. And I hope you like these last couple of songs. I hope you have a good week. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.